Yeah, we've got OjyOkpe, a.k.a. Chief of Umukwata.
Yes.
As a new a.k.a. Odogwu Salensa.
Which one is this one
Ladies
again?
and gentlemen, I present to you
plenty
OjyOkpe with stories trending around the world, a.k.a. Chief of Umukwata, a.k.a. Odogwu Salensa.
Thank you very much for that. I'm getting plenty different names. Guess what? This morning I got a text from Daniel Bwala. He told me it was his birthday. The guy who called our section, his 50th birthday, or happy birthday to him. Just so that he knows that we are not only talking about what he claimed we were talking about. We highlight people, we praise people. So happy birthday to you, Daniel Bwala. Kokoroton Jeffo. Good morning.
We praise people who have contributed to
nation building. Yeah. As well, Violent Ayo. Good morning, how are you? Professor Anthony Killer. BBC Wahala. Good morning, how are you this morning? How was your weekend? Well, you're doing very well. You're always killing it. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Let's bring in what's trending in Anambra State, where the closure of Ogbo Ogwu Market has finally caught the attention of the state governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. The market, including the plumbing section, was shut down by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control over the sale, production, and distribution of counterfeit drugs. Soludo met with the leadership of the plumbing materials market, which was shut down alongside the drug market, and found out during his visit that there were cartons of counterfeit and controlled drugs, many of which had been banned globally, inside some of the shops that were shut down by NAFDAC.
What you are seeing, describe the kind of thing you are seeing.
For example, like yesterday, they showed me, they said tramadol, isn't it? They say it's the contraband drugs. Yeah. They also show me the codeine, and the many more names I don't know. So
they are being stored here?
Yes, sir.
And you saw them yourself?
I saw by myself, honestly. I can't lie, I saw.
We need to trace this thing back to who is making it. Since this has been banned worldwide, who is still, because this wasn't made here. This was brought in from somewhere, a manufacturer somewhere. You said it's India. India. We must be able to trace the manufacturer. And then, how did it come in? Did it come, it's not spirit, it's not air. It came through the borders, either airports or seaports. So I think there is a much wider concern that we need to get, because I worry about the health of my people.
All right, finally, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo has gone to the market, and he talked about the fact that, he was concerned about the conditions there and all of that. But, they always say better late than never. Well, here's a video posted on NAFDAC's official X account showing the fake drugs that were uncovered inside the plumbing materials shops at the Onitsha Bridgehead Drug Market in Anambra. Let's take a look.
You see the shop? See the food bags? That is package. Codeine. You can see? Package. Inside plumbing material.
This is unforgivable. Unforgivable. But I would like to read out, part of Charles Chukwuma Soludo's tweet before I come to you. He wrote on X after that visit, with drugs and related matters captured strictly on the exclusive list, my visit today was interventionist. First, I sought to ascertain why other markets close to the drug market in Onitsha were closed, away from the media sensation created by a few political actors. The leadership of the plumbing materials market, which was shut down alongside the drug market, confirmed to me that the discoveries made by the regulators in some shops in the plumbing material market were both shocking and disturbing. While we must rid our country of fake and counterfeit drugs, it is important for the federal government to tighten up the noose on the supply end of the value chain. I have directed that the search, which had commenced a few days ago, be expedited so that in less than 10 days from today, the traders at the plumbing materials market can be allowed to reopen and commence their legitimate commercial activities. And you know, a part of his tweet there got me confused. I don't know what the media sensation was about. I don't know who the political, person. Well, absolutely, because Peter Obi did go to the market.
And you are the media sensation.
And I am the media sensation. But this is the conversation that we had here, and it was clear what we were talking about, that it is unfair to close down shops that have no business with the fake drug industry. It is illegal, and that is what the point that we're making. Now, Charles Chukwuma Soludo is saying almost the same thing, that we should reopen the stores. I mean, what is the media sensation there?
You forget this is political here.
I mean, it's unnecessary.
You forget
we cannot
that,
politicize this
APC
issue.
Is in the center.
No.
Valentine Igbo
Yes.
has gone to the APC. There are a lot of top contenders in the APC.
Yes.
Leading up to the Anambra election. Also PDP contenders and all of that. You forget it's political year. So you forget that another politician, Peter Obi, had gone there to advocate like he would normally advocate, but Mr. Soludo feels that somebody is coming to encroach on his territory. So he didn't go there the day Peter Obi went. He left it for about a week after.
Yes.
And came back to say all the things, same things Peter Obi said, but he now abused Peter Obi by saying media sensation. So this is politics.
No,
don't deceive yourself, Oji. Like my brother Teleforty would say, don't die in their war.
Yeah.
There is nothing he's saying today that we didn't see on this
There's
table.
nothing he said that
So
Peter Obi
the
didn't
other
say
one
either.
is, he could have gone to that, issue that statement and supported, but he wants to play politics and want to hit his political opponent in this regard, Peter Obi, by saying that the media sensation and all of that. So this is the way these people play their politics. The most important question we should ask is, it's not fair to lock up their shop, because track the syndicates, bring them to book, bust them, take the full road of the law on them, but it's not fair to lock up people's businesses. And there's nothing different. What you are just going to play is an assault. I'm the governor.
Exactly. That's exactly what we advocated. We are still talking about NAFDAC, and so we all will have an opportunity.
And kudos to NAFDAC on their good job.
We all will have an opportunity to speak on this actual subject. In the meantime, the Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has defended the agency's intensified operations in Onitsha, Aba, and Idumota, where over 1,000 people are dealing in counterfeit and unregistered medicines. Well, during a press briefing over the weekend, Adeyeye said NAFDAC's mission remains clear in safeguarding Nigeria's pharmaceutical sector for the well-being of all.
What we are seeing in Onitsha, big warehouses without a window. The only thing that goes there is you can get in is the door. That is why we are doing what we are doing, to protect our lives. These are all controlled drugs that are not supposed to be on the streets. They have drugs in the plumbing section. Our forces, our police went with our staff. They overwhelmed us. We narrowly escaped from being killed. These trucks that you have seen here are trucks that were caught by security forces in the night, trying to take drugs away from Idumota, where we have our operation. So these trucks are seized. We are not destroying trade. We are protecting lives.
NAFDAC says its operation against counterfeit drugs has resulted in the closure of over 11,000 shops and the arrest of 40 individuals, adding that the operation, which has had been planned for over a year, targeted markets and hubs responsible for the distribution of 80% of medicines nationwide. Like we've always said, kudos to NAFDAC for what they're doing, but they also have to be thorough in terms of what shops they are closing and make sure that people are not being complicated in their operation.
Yes. So I want to say that Professor Mojisola Adeyeye should be protected at all costs.
Yes.
She already has admitted that her life is under threat. We saw that with another woman who did the same thing, Professor Dora Akunyili, who was actually shot at. So let me just put that out there. She's doing a great work. But I think also important is that what she said about not stopping trade, but saving lives. That's another quotable quote from her. Now, going back to Governor of Anambra's statement, I think there was one thing that he said that we should take note of. He said in the plumbers market, there were some shops that were housing these fake drugs. And that once they were able to apprehend them, or at least check them, then they would restore their shops. So I think in terms of also people who are accessories to a crime, it's important that even whether, because they said they didn't know, or how did this happen, why were these drugs found in some of the plumbing pipes and all that, it's important that once that is done, because we still have an economic side to these things, and we don't want people to lose trade. That is the honest truth. Once that is done, they should reopen the market. But also very importantly, an aspect I want to say is that, two things actually. He said they were going to now open a wholesale house that would be regulated, which is a wake-up call. We talked about this on the same table, that we then need to find a solution to why people are able to have warehouses that are not regulated by the government and they can sell fake products. So that's a good move, and that's a good outcome from this thing. But one thing is that, why are there 11,000? That's a lot. We should be worried as a nation.
80%.
Why are people who are young,
in Nigeria,
who have a brain, rather resort to crime as an act, because it's a business.
It is.
And it takes a lot of work. Why exactly? Crime. Not even because because there's an enabling environment for this to thrive.
Let me take
so
a
it means
reaction
that people are smart and they can be redirected to using their energy to doing better things than running businesses that are killing people.
I'll take a reaction to your statement before I come to you, Professor Killer. This is from Kalu Aja. He wrote, selling fake drugs is worse than terrorists. At least you know Boko Haram wants to kill you. So you run. With counterfeit drugs, you believe you have found help, but you are killed slowly. Anambra State must own this. The federal government is in this market because the state has failed to regulate it. Yeah. There is nowhere on earth where drugs are sold wholesale or retail without a pharmacy license, except these unrelated markets that are spreading death. People are dying because of this market. If the traders can't police it, close it and call it a day. This is my position, and you are free to disagree. We have to close the shops, but it has to be the exact shop. That is their duty. That is their job. Exactly. It is their job to regulate. It is their job to fish out those that are complicit.
Yes.
All right. Well, a viral BBC investigation documentary over the weekend revealed an Indian pharmaceutical company, Avio Pharmaceuticals, which has been manufacturing unlicensed, highly addictive opioids and exporting them illegally to West Africa, including Ghana, Nigeria, and Côte d'Ivoire. The pharmaceutical company, based in Mumbai, makes a range of drugs that go under different brand names and are packaged to look like legitimate medicines. Let's take a look at a snippet of that documentary before we come back for a discussion.
This is what they found here with just one ring. Yeah. This is what happens almost on a daily basis.
This is a sample of carton, capsule, tablet, everything is perfect. I can clear from our custom, means India. You can clear from your side. You have local market in the Nigeria, you can supply these materials.
So we do. And our plan is to sell to young people.
This item is a painkiller. But suppose you can use the 2 or 3 tablets in the one time, you can like this relax.
This is what the kids like. That's what they like. Gives them that high. High means high.
This is very harmful for the health. But
very harmful.
But customer cannot understand. He wants to relax.
He wants to relax. Yeah.
Any medicine can be huge. This is very harmful for the body. But nowadays this is a business.
kudos to the people behind this documentary, really. And also, Professor Soludo had said something in that interview that who are these people manufacturing these drugs? And now we have found one company in India. I believe that, you know, there have been reports about whether there's some sort of collaboration with the marketers here as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you cannot do anything if there's no collaboration with the people in Nigeria. The expression is people on ground. You need the local collaborators in this kind of context to make it operate. But I think while the evil people are perpetuating their own evil, it is important that the rest of us, government and people, understand that those who sought to make money by peddling debt are enemies of the society. Yes, no. And we have to really treat them as people who are trying to kill us and ruin lives. Because when you sell fake drug, you kill a patient, you break the heart of the family of that patient. We need to look at the ecosystem of what they're doing to feel the gravity of these people who are making money out of killing other people. Professor Mojisola Adeyeye looks like somebody naturally you would trust. And I agree with Ayo that says we need to protect her. She looks like somebody who really needs protection. But I also think we also need to definitely protect her. And I think she needs more protection than a lot of people going about with convoys in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Very well said.
She has a legitimate case. But we also need to help her. She looks like a moral crusader who's passionate about what she's doing. But we need to help her understand the business side of things. We need to let her understand that whilst it is true to that saving life is important, it is also important to save living of people. Again, I repeat what we've said before. The operation of NAFDAC and similar agencies has to be surgical, has to be transparent, and has to be swift, and has to be in the framework of the rule of law. One last thing that needs to be said. There is a mischievous misconception that we indulge in our political landscape, which is this idea of saying that politicians are playing politics, that's why they're not behaving well. That is a very detrimental attitude that we have, and we need to start calling them out. We need to understand the difference between good and bad politics. It is bad politics to call out your opponent. Good politics, what Gramsci will call the grand politica, is the politics in which you act. Even if it's for election, if you are in government, what you need to do is to very quickly do the right thing.
That's it.
If you're the governor of a state, you're supposed to be in that market before Peter Obi or anybody comes there. If you're the governor of your state, it is your duty to regulate your space of that market before the federal government comes. And by the same token, if you are in opposition, you have the duty to bring ideas and alternatives, not to delegitimate or not to point finger at the press. I think these are our elites, especially our political elite, but every other elite, we need to up our game. At the moment, it is pedestrian, it is down-putting, and for me personally, it's vexatious.
Well said, Professor Killer. I told you always kill it. Very well said. Sums up the whole conversation there. Well, in another development, the Igbo Apex Group, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, on Sunday demanded an apology and 10 trillion naira in compensation from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to be paid to the Igbos following the revelation by former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup as alleged. The revelation was contained in IBB's memoir, A Journey in Service. The group noted that the coup unleashed disastrous repercussions on the Igbo people, among other factors, which ultimately led to the horrors of the Biafra War. Let me take their statement in part. The group wrote, the Apex Igbo Social Cultural Organization, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, extends its profound appreciation to General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida for his remarkable courage in officially declaring that the January 1966 coup was unequivocally not an Igbo coup. This pivotal acknowledgement is not merely a correction of historical nomenclature, but a significant moment in our collective pursuit of justice and reconciliation, signaling a potential end to the historical vindictiveness and cruelty that have been pervasive in federal government policies towards the Igbo nation. His forthright exemption of the Igbo from the egregious classification as enemies of the northern region in the aftermath of the coup is both timely and necessary, even if it arrives decades later. The mislabeling of the 1966 coup has unleashed disastrous repercussions upon the Igbo people, most tragically culminating in the January 1966 counter-coup, which decimated a military head of state of Igbo descent. The staggering loss of life, with approximately 3 million Igbos, predominantly innocent women and children, slaughtered during this conflict, continues to reverberate through our collective consciousness. In light of these egregious injustices and the deliberate neglect exhibited by successive administrations, Ohanaeze Ndigbo hereby restates its demands as articulated previously during the Justice Oputa-led Judicial Commission for the Investigation of Human Rights Violation panel in 1999. The present federal government, led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, must recognize this moment as an opportunity to extend a public and unequivocal apology on behalf of previous military regimes. Our demand for 10 trillion naira in reparations remains steadfast. This figure is not arbitrary, but a symbolic recognition of the indelible losses the Igbo people have endured. The time has come for true acknowledgement of these historical wrongs, which can only be rectified through reparations and sincere apologies. I mean, this was a detailed statement, and there's been a lot of reactions since that excerpt of IBB's memoir came out, where he debunked or dismissed the fact that the 1966 coup was an Igbo coup. A quick comment before I take some reactions.
Oji, IBB did not need to write in his book that it was not an Igbo coup before I had known that it was not an Igbo coup. Mm-hmm. For references, I have read, if not my last count, over 10 to 15 books on the war and what happened around that time. One of the most updated one that was not really biased was Centaure's account of the Nigerian Civil War. I've read Philip Evio's account, The Cage Bird Sings. I've read, Frederick Foster. I've read many accounts. It was not an Igbo coup. There was no Igbo coup. The narrative of an Igbo coup was to be able to hang a particular ethnic group in all of that. These were a bunch of idealists that said, the way forward to obliterate this political class, this thieving political, and their problems then was the same thieving political class.
The coup plotters.
Yes. That they became very idealistic. And where did that mindset come from? It came from the elections and the fight that ensued after the second elections, after the 59, I think the 64 elections, where they saw what the political class was doing, where they saw what was happening in the south and other regions of the country. So this bunch of idealists felt that they could save the country, which was a big mistake. Ogbo Ogwu that wrote the book, Why We Struck, was not an Igbo man. Kaduna Nzego was from Okpanam. Kaduna Nzego was so Hausa. They have Igbo doctrine. He was born in the north. His name was Kaduna because he was born in Kaduna. So all of this was part of the sentiment that they used for this war then. And there are many copious accounts. Mm-hmm. It was just a bunch of idealists. They felt the way to go was the way to clean up the system, but it was wrong. There was no ethnic. The same narrative of ethnic coloration stemmed from what the political class started infusing, so that there was going to be a fight back. Coupled with the media. And that's why foreign medias also played a role in this. And they whipped up that sentiment, and it started to snowball into the anarchy.
Right.
In moving forward, we need to heal. We need to know that we are all on this table of this hurt and pain, and we should try as much as possible to fix it. And we must be able to do justice. The greatest form of reparation for me is justice.
Yeah.
And we must stop the marginalization against the Igbos. Infrastructure must be built in that land.
All right.
We must allow infrastructure go round. Yes, we have development commission across all regions now. There are statutory transfers to the budget.
Yeah.
We must be able to pump money there. Also, we must bring about federal infrastructural present development. Then we must also stop this talk. An Igbo man cannot be president. Who said so? Who said so? Because you see, these people forget a lot. After the Civil War, one of the paths to reconciliation was that a deliberate attempt by the two key political parties to have Philip Omiedi as the running mate of Awolowo and what's his name now? The number one,
Alex Ekweme.
Alex Ekweme, the first man to get a PhD in architecture in Nigeria.
All right.
So we need to be able to bring ourselves to this table of recompense and bring the conversation clear on the table that we must fight for a path to peace and stop this Igbophobia and hate against Igbos and all of that. All of us must be one to make this unity work.
All right, so you're up for that, compensation, the 10 trillion. I mean, there's been conversation about, how that amount of money, there should be some sort of wider consultation as to how Ohanaeze arrived at that amount of money. But
for me, due compensation.
You believe in due compensation.
A lot of federal infrastructure
in the
east and other parts that have been disgruntled in the country, sustainable ones. That's what I don't know about 10 trillion, but I'm all about justice.
So let me take a comment that followed that story. This is from Justin Collins, who wrote, Ohanaeze Ndigbo's demand for an apology and 10 trillion naira in compensation from President Tinubu following IBB's clarification about the 1966 coup underscores the Igbos deserving recognition of their historical grievances. This call for reparation reflects the ongoing need for acknowledgement of past injustices in the nation. The 1966 coup was never an Igbo coup. It was a narrative instigated by the Hausa, Fulani, and other tribes to deny the Igbos their rightful place in Nigeria's leadership. This misrepresentation has fueled decades of injustice against the Igbo people. And, that sums up the sort of conversation we're hearing from the sides of, whether or not we're going to pay reparation. Well, amidst all the revelations made in IBB's book, a historic video of the late Chief MKO Abiola's appeal to General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida in June 1993, shortly after the annulment of the June 12 presidential election, has resurfaced online. In his address, Abiola urged Babangida to reverse the annulment and return the will of the Nigerian people, emphasizing the need for democracy and justice. Let's take a look.
I must appeal to Babangida. If he really, truly loves Nigeria, he should set Nigeria free. If he becomes a civilian, as the army seems to be telling him to do now, it will make things a lot easier, because it will be one civilian against the other. A man with a loaded gun, it takes a lot of courage to confront him the way God has had to make me do in the last few days, in the last few weeks. But if he did not want a transition, why order an election?
All right, reactions galore. Well, Sadiq Abacha, son of the late military head of state, Sani Abacha, has defended his father following allegations that forces led by his father, who was then Chief of Defense Staff, orchestrated the annulment of June 12, when in a post on Facebook on Saturday, Sadiq praised his father's legacy and expressed confidence that history will ultimately judge him favorably. His post reads, "The man Abacha, you have always been the man they have envied with silent deceit. History shall remember you for being a better leader, no matter how much they try to put you down. As a son, I'm most proud of you today. You indeed are the man they wish they were half of." Well, Sadiq concluded his statement with, a Hausa phrase, which means whoever utters insult at a public market knows who they are intended for. I mean, this was a trending post. Ayo, you're shaking your head. It was a trending post, and we also saw Gusu Abacha's tweet where she wrote "weakling" on X, a direct dig at IBB. Ayo, quickly.
All right. I think it's only in a place like Nigeria that would give guts to these children to come out and speak like this. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, even though traditionally you don't want to speak bad about your father is the best thing despite what he's done, I would still say that common sense should prevail. And maybe it speaks to the level of education or how enlightened or perhaps the part of truth about their father that they know about. Let's not even begin to speak. You know, they say it's not good to speak ill of the dead.
Yes.
But it's also important to speak the fact and not rewrite history.
Yes.
Maybe the history he's saying will be kind to his father. Maybe after the passage of time, we'll now see a number of Nigerians gather around and give, eulogize his dad and say, let's not remember that his father was responsible for the death of a number of key Nigerians.
Yes.
And that a lot of people do not have their parents alive because of the actions of his father. Let us not glamorize Abacha. Beyond that, they call him the gift that keeps giving. He stole from Nigeria so much that how many years after his death we are still benefiting from the loots that he stole and still finding out more.
Absolutely.
Please, the Abacha family should just keep quiet and enjoy whatever it is they're enjoying and leave Nigerians to just, think of the years or try to forget the evil years of the Abacha days. That's what I would say.
Well said, Ayo. There was a breakdown, 30 cents made over the, I was trending over the weekend. I mean, I wish we had that to pull up. And they broke down how much money that, Abacha had looted over the years. 30 cents did the Lord's work. And then, still counting. We're still... And what have we done with those monies in any ways? But let me... But Professor Anthony Killer, this memoir has, generated reactions. But you know what? In 2019, President Muhammadu Buhari stated that he will not write a book expressing concerns that doing so might lead him to criticize certain individuals, which he wished to avoid to prevent causing harm to their families. Let's take a look.
Some people said I should write a book. I don't think I will ever write a book. Mainly, I don't want to hurt anybody. Hurting in the sense that there are certain people that I cannot resist abusing. But that hasn't got anything to do with their children and their grandchildren. So I don't want to hurt their children and grandchildren. So for the sake of their children and grandchildren, I have left them.
I mean, history, we need that. I don't know why Buhari is saying he won't write a book. Ogasa, we need a book from you. Go ahead.
You need a book from me.
Yes. I mean, I don't know about this story. I think depends on the kind of... Go ahead. What did this prof said what?
Prof, when you say you need a book of Bros, that way.
Yes. He wants to tell me. Go ahead.
Well, I think Buhari can be accused of many things.
Yes.
He can be imagined as many things, but not an intellectual. Not as a writer.
They are ghost writers, Professor Killer.
You need even to tell a story for they can ghost write your thing. I mean, it requires some kind of mental and deep commitment to do certain things. Of course.
And these were those that supported Buhari in 2015.
Oh, you did?
Yes, these were people that carried Buhari for 2015.
Okay, go ahead.
So they are talking for the sources.
Killed it. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Prof.
Go ahead, please.
So I think let's leave Buhari to do whatever he wants to do. If he writes a book, he does us a favor. If he doesn't write one,
a huge favor.
He does a bigger one by not writing it. So let's leave him to whatever he wants to do.
What did I say about Professor Killer? Always killing it. Well, I wish we had more time on this segment of the morning show. I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending Today. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending Today. Professor Killer killed it. I'll see you all tomorrow.